Welcome to American Small Business Institute. I'm here today with Ryan Chute. Ryan is one of the Wizard of Ads partners. And what's your primary focus inside the partner group?
I'm focused completely on the sales side of the spectrum.
Okay, on developing like sales teams or strategy or both?
Sales strategy, sales teams, it really just depends on the people side.
Okay, the people side of things. Yeah. The people getting your message out there side of things.
Yeah.
All right, so Ryan wanted to talk today about how to align your sales and your sales message and people with your marketing as opposed to them being two separate siloed entities who always seem at war with each other. So what's the main principle here?
Well, I mean, what I find is that a lot of the times I go into stores all over the world and there's this disconnect that you've got a sales department who's often making the decisions on marketing. The owner and the sales manager are making decisions. Maybe there's a marketing coordinator. In some instances, rare instances, there's an actual marketing manager there. But that manager probably doesn't have any authority, considering the sales manager is the guy that's making money.
Right.
Right? And the marketing manager is a bit of a liability from a P&L statement.
Right.
Wizard of Ad partners who just are some of the most brilliant minds I've ever seen in the marketing spectrum when they come up with story and creative and all of these things. But it didn't necessarily carry through to the sales floor, to the people who have to deliver that and deliver the customer experience.
Right.
Not only that, the leadership that has to lead them in a way that fits what they're trying to say in their message.
Right. So you're saying like we've got, like with the ghetto guys, you may end up having sales guys go, yeah, he carried a flashlight for his dad, but this unit has these 14 specs.
Right.
And it's gonna, is that what you mean?
Yeah, not just that, but also that. Like it's they're going right back to what they care about.
Right.
And not what the customer
So how do you get the sales guys to give a crap about the marketing message?
Start with the marketing message.
Okay.
So,
well,
a lot,
that makes sense.
Really, most of the time in most of the companies that I've gone to, no one's even defined the message.
Right.
So until we define that message, we don't know what the message is.
Right.
We don't know what our values are, what we believe in, what we stand for, what we don't stand for. And if we don't know that, how can we tell our people?
Right.
And then as leaders in that organization, how can the leaders lead those sales forces, those technicians, those care workers, the sales floor, whatever the case might be, in the right direction when they're telling their people to talk about price and to work on the features and benefits and to close a deal today,
right,
without any regard for the actual customer experience.
Right. Right. So you've taken the time, let's say you acknowledge, okay, you're right. We need to know what we're all saying. We need to know what we actually care about, and you finally define it.
Yes.
Now what?
So once that message is defined, you've got to develop the people. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big believer, I think everyone is that it starts from the top down. So developing leadership to deliver to their teams. Mm-hmm. And development of people happens in two different aspects. It's the existing people that you have there,
right,
but it's also the new people that are coming in and identifying the right people to fit into your world, right? So once you've developed the people, then you can get onto the designing your style thing, right? The whole idea of logos and the symbols of our business and the aesthetics of a website and all those things are really kind of third down the list far after we've figured out our message and our people and start delivering it.
So come back to the people, because this one's, I think this is where it all comes apart, mm-hmm, if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
How do you develop the people? Like, how do you get a sales guy who's only focused on numbers, or because his salary is often commission-based, mm-hmm, and that's what's going to feed his family?
Yeah.
How do you get them to take on the message that you guys have crafted?
It's interesting that you bring up commissions and performance, because that's a part of it,
okay,
right, from a sales operations standpoint. But it starts at the top. It starts with those leaders, and those leaders have to first agree on that collective group of values and beliefs that they all kind of live and die by on a day-to-day basis in their
In a way that you can actually read them out and say, this is what it looks like,
This is it.
not just what it sounds like.
This is what we believe. This is what we stand for. This is what our company represents.
Because so I would argue that every company thinks they already do that with mission statements.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between that and something that's going to change behavior?
Well, the mission statement is a high-level statement that very few people understand,
Exactly.
and far more people don't follow.
Right.
So a mission statement is really one of those things that's ethereally out there and doing nothing and impressing no one.
So I understand that the mission statement, unbelievably fuzzy, but in my mind, so often carrying the marketing message to the sales guys, that feels like a fuzzy statement too.
Yeah.
We need you to understand. We need you to care about the marketing message we're trying to communicate. I get that, but how does that change the actual behavior of the sales guys?
Right, and it really comes down to how you define your goals and how you act on those goals.
So what's a right way to do it, for example? So let's take a company that you saw doing it wrong, and then how they changed it to do it correctly that impacted behavior.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at an HVAC company like Gettle, where you look at the general broad spectrum of mission statement, or how we're going to do something, or even how they want them to do it through their marketing, this kind of ethereal, fuzzy thing of we're going to make everything right.
Right.
Well, how are you going to make everything right? You know, is it that you're going to tighten a screw to a certain level? Is that you're going to make sure that every filter has been replaced or cleaned and is in a perfect situation where the customer is going to leave pleased with the service that you provided above and beyond?
Right.
Right? What a customer experience are you providing that resonates with the customer, not with the company?
So you mean changing the language to, we say we care about our customers, but what we do is make sure that every one of our salespeople is empowered to meet the need at the moment?
Right, and not just empowered by the message itself,
Right.
but empowered by the actions that they have actual control over.
Ah, that's a big deal. So you don't keep having this car lot vibe where someone's like, let me check with my manager every time you ask them a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can walk through the steps. Now, there comes a point where they're not necessarily allowed to give you a bigger discount than what they're authorized to give you.
Right.
What that means is what can they do, and if they can't, be transparent and clear about it.
Right.
But that starts at leadership, and leadership is going to demonstrate that by how they measure the success of their team. So a leader isn't going to say, you need to sell me 10 cars this month. The leader's going to say, we need to do this much work on the phones and this much emailing and this many points of contact. You have control over those things, and those things will get us to 10 cars a month.
See, okay, that's the most valuable thing I've heard you say so far, which is management of a good sales team is only controlling what they have the ability to influence.
Right.
Versus layering onto them responsibilities that they have no control over.
Right.
That's huge.
That is
so
huge.
The two things that I'm taking away from this right now is, one, it's the responsibility of the marketing team and management to communicate the practical, on-the-ground reality of what their message is implying, so that the salespeople and the service people know when they're delivering it or not.
Yeah.
Right. And that it's also the responsibility of management to only hold people accountable for the things they can control.
Right.
Fair enough. Rock and roll. Well, thanks for taking the time with us, Ryan. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
It's my pleasure.
We'll see you guys next week.